The windshield wipers on Sarah Klein's 12-year-old sedan gave up halfway through the storm, freezing mid-swipe like a pair of exhausted arms. Rain hammered the roof so hard the car felt like a tin drum in a hurricane. She was 20 miles from the nearest town, phone battery at 4%, and her 8-year-old daughter, Mia, was asleep in the booster seat with a fever burning through her forehead. Sarah had promised her pancakes in the morning, a new start in a new town after the divorce papers were signed. Instead, she was coasting on fumes and prayers. That's when the engine coughed its last breath. The car rolled to a stop on the shoulder of County Road 17, headlights cutting through sheets of water. Sarah killed the lights to save the battery, sat in the sudden dark, and cried, quiet, ugly sobs that shook her shoulders. She hadn't cried like that since the day her ex-husband packed his Xbox and left without saying goodbye to Mia. She wiped her face, reached for her phone, and the screen went black. Dead. A single set of headlights appeared in the rearview mirror, slow and deliberate. A battered blue pickup eased behind her, hazards blinking. The driver's door opened and a man stepped out wearing a soaked denim jacket and a ball cap pulled low. He carried a flashlight in one hand and a paper bag in the other. He rapped gently on her window. Sarah cracked it 2 inches. "I'm okay," she lied. "You're not," he said. His voice was low, kind, and carried the faintest rasp of someone who'd spent years talking over engine noise. "Pop the hood. I've got tools." She hesitated, then did it. The man, his name stitched on the jacket read Tom, worked in silence, rain plastering his dark hair to his forehead. 10 minutes later the engine turned over with a reluctant growl. He slammed the hood and came back to the window. Alternator belt snapped. "I rigged it with a spare from my glove box. It'll get you to town, but you need a shop tomorrow." Sarah stared at the dashboard lights glowing like small miracles. I don't have cash on me. My wallet's in the glove box and..." Tom held up the paper bag. "Trade you for a sandwich. My kid packed 2. He thinks I'm still growing." He smiled, and the lines around his eyes deepened like parentheses around a private joke. She took the bag. Inside was a peanut butter and jelly on wheat, cut diagonally, crusts removed. A note in purple marker, "Dad, don't forget to eat. Love, Eli." Sarah's throat closed. "Thank you," she managed. Tom tipped his cap. "Garage on Maple opens at 7. Ask for me. I'll finish the job." He jogged back to his truck and disappeared into the storm. The next morning, Sarah pulled into Tom's auto repair just as the bay doors rolled up. The place smelled of motor oil and coffee. Tom was under a minivan, greased to the elbows, humming an old Springsteen song. He slid out when he saw her. "Thought you might show," he said, wiping his hands on a rag that had long ago given up being red. Mia tugged Sarah's sleeve. "Mom, here's the sandwich man." Tom crouched to MIA's level. "Hey, Captain. You feeling better?" Mia nodded shyly. "My fever broke." "Good. Fevers are sneaky. Like raccoons in trash cans." Mia giggled. Sarah watched the exchange, something warm loosening in her chest. "How much do I owe you?" Tom stood. "Belt's $30 parts, labor's on me. But I could use breakfast. Diner across the street makes a mean stack. You in?" She should have said no. She had a U-Haul to unload, a studio apartment to set up, a life to rebuild. Instead she heard herself say, "Pancakes sound perfect." The diner smelled of bacon and syrup. They sat in a corner booth sticky with years of spilled coffee. Mia colored the kids' menu while Tom told stories. How he'd taken over the garage after his dad passed, how Eli had been asking for a dog since he was 4, how some nights the shop felt too quiet without the old man's radio playing classic rock. Sarah listened and felt the weight of the past year sliding off her shoulders like wet wool. When the check came, Tom snatched it. "House rules," he said. "First repair, first meal, both on me." Over the next weeks, the garage became a second home. Sarah dropped Mia at the attached waiting room where Eli, a wiry 10-year-old with Tom's same crooked smile, taught her how to change a tire on a plastic toy car. Sarah brought sandwiches in return, turkey and Swiss, ham and cheddar, always cut diagonally because she'd noticed Tom save the crusts for the stray cat behind the shop. One Thursday, the alternator light on Sarah's car glowed again. She coasted in just before closing. Tom took one look inside. Belt was a Band-Aid. "You need a new alternator. $200 plus labor." Sarah's stomach dropped. Rent was due. She'd taken a part-time job at the library, but the first paycheck was still a week away. Can I make payments? Tom rubbed the back of his neck. Tell you what. I need a website. Mine looks like it was built by a hamster on dial-up. You any good with computers? I was a graphic designer in my old life, she said quietly. Perfect. Design me a site, we call it even. She blinked. That's worth way more than. Sarah. He said her name like he'd been practicing it. Let people help you. World's not as mean as it pretends. That night she stayed late, sketching logos on the back of work orders. Tom closed the bay doors, turned on the radio low, and they worked side by side. Eli and Mia fell asleep on the couch under a pile of moving blankets. When the mock-up was done, Sarah spun the laptop toward him. Tom's eyes widened. That's professional. Like big city professional. It's what I used to do, she said. Before everything fell apart. He studied her face. Things fall apart so better things can click into place. My dad used to say that. Sarah laughed, but it cracked in the middle. I don't know what clicks anymore. Tom closed the laptop gently. Start with pancakes tomorrow. My treat. Summer unfolded like a slow exhale. Sarah's website brought in customers from 3 counties away. Tom taught her how to rotate tires. She taught him how to use Canva. Mia and Eli became inseparable, plotting elaborate games involving the shop's rolling tool chests and a cardboard box painted like a spaceship. One August evening, the sky bruised purple with an incoming storm. Sarah was closing the library when her phone buzzed. Tom. Hey, can you swing by the shop? Got something to show you. She arrived to find the bay doors open. String lights hung like constellations. A single table sat in the middle, set for 2. Eli and Mia peeked from behind an engine hoist, grinning conspirators. Tom stood in a clean flannel shirt, hands in his pockets. Eli says I'm supposed to ask you to dinner. Properly. No sandwiches. Sarah's heart performed an Olympic gymnastics routine. What about the kids? Sleepover at Eli's friend's house. First time in. Well, ever. He stepped closer. I'm not great at this. Lost my wife 6 years ago. Been dad and mechanic and that's been enough. Until you rolled in with a busted belt and a kid who likes her PB&J cut fancy. Sarah felt tears threaten. Tom, I come with baggage. A divorce. A daughter. A life I'm still figuring out. I come with grease under my nails and a 10-year-old who thinks farts are comedy gold. We are even. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Sarah's breath caught. It's not a ring, he said quickly. I'm not that crazy. Yet. He opened it to reveal a silver key. It's to the shop. And the apartment above it. Eli and I rattle around up there. 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, and a kitchen big enough for pancakes every morning. If you and Mia ever want more space. No pressure. Just an open door. Sarah stared at the key like it might vanish. You're offering us a home. I'm offering you a place to keep becoming who you're meant to be. With us. If you want. Thunder rumbled. The first fat raindrops hit the tin roof. Sarah stepped forward, took the key, and pressed it to her heart. Yes, she whispered. 1,000 times yes. Behind them, Eli and Mia burst from hiding, cheering like they'd won the World Series. Tom laughed, the sound rich and unguarded. He pulled Sarah into a hug that smelled of motor oil and possibility. A year later, the garage had a new sign, Tom and Sarah's Auto Repair, where broken things get second chances. The website Sarah built won a local small business award. Mia started 3rd grade with a stepbrother who walked her to class every morning. And every Saturday, without fail, the 4 of them sat in the diner booth, sticky with coffee, loud with laughter, and ordered pancakes. Because sometimes the universe breaks your alternator belt in a storm just to lead you to the man who will trade it for a sandwich, and then spend the rest of his life making sure you never run on empty again. And that, friends, is how a single dad and a stranded mom discovered that the road to forever is paved with peanut butter, jelly, and a whole lot of heart.